Good morning, and let me thank everybody very much for being here. For those of you who don't know it, my name is Mike Castle, and I am the congressman from the state of Delaware. For some of our Philadelphia meeting, we only have one congressman in the state of Delaware, and this is my good wife, Jane. Obviously, as I think all of you know, I have been thinking about the decision about whether or not I should be a candidate for either the United States House of Representatives for re-election or for the United States Senate to fill the remainder of the term to which Senator Joe Biden, now Vice President Biden, was elected. As you may also know, Ted Kaufman was named to replace Joe and is serving those 2 years, and then they have an election for the remaining 4 years at the next general election, which will be next November. Obviously, I've been thinking about this for some time, ever since it was obvious that Joe was going to be leaving the Senate and that election would be taking place. And as I went through my various meetings in Delaware, including my town hall meetings, even my healthcare meetings, all the different events that I go to, and just working my staff and talking to so many people, I realized that there was just a lot of support for my doing this, and I cleared it with the most important person out there from a political point of view, who's right here with me, to make sure everything was okay. And we came to closure a little over a week ago that this is something that we wanted to do. As a matter of fact, I think once we reached closure on that, I realized I'd wanted to do it all along. So I am here today to announce that I will be a candidate for the United States Senate. This is probably, I hope that's not my train. This is probably not true of just Delaware, but I know it's true of Delaware. We need the strongest and most experienced leadership we can find in this country today. I hope to be able to bring that to the United States Senate. There are many, many issues of concern, and I'm not here today to go through a lot of issues, but just to make the decision on my announcement. But obviously, we have to worry about economic growth and job creation in our country. That is the motor behind our entire functioning, and without it, we would be badly jeopardized. And we've been hurt in the country, we've been hurt in Delaware, and we need to do everything we can to resurrect all of that. We need to worry about threats to America, and we need to work hard on our diplomacy and our leadership, and we still are the world leaders, and we need to work hard in terms of what we are doing all over the world with the various threats to our country. Healthcare is an issue that just begs working together, and we have not seen that in Washington on this issue. And I believe that we can make healthcare more accessible and more affordable if we work together. And by together, I mean everybody across the country and Republicans and Democrats together. And I believe that spending in Washington has just gone too far. I've been voting against appropriation bills now for several years. My sense is that we are just spending too much money in Washington, D.C. We cannot continue to do that, and we need to bring to Washington the same economic skills that we brought to Delaware a long time ago, when people like Pete DuPont and myself were able to balance budgets, live within our means, and make sure that we're doing all we can to present the economic interests of our country as well as possible. And that is something that absolutely needs to take place in Washington, D.C. I happen to believe in civility and bipartisanship, which may be an argument for never going to Washington, D.C., I suppose. But I believe very strongly that by working together, we can actually accomplish a lot more than we're seeing today with all the finger-pointing and accusations about partisanship, which is taking place in Washington. A long time ago, we discovered in Delaware that if we do work together, we are able to solve problems. They've not yet discovered that in Washington, D.C., and I think it's a shame, but I hope to continue to try to bring that to the table as far as Washington is concerned. The reason for this press conference today is simply to make the announcement that I will be a candidate for the United States Senate. There will be a campaign kickoff later, and I'll go through the details of various things that I stand for at that point. I would like to make one final point, and I'll be glad to try to take a few questions before the train comes in. and that is to thank my staff. My staff in my Washington office does a wonderful job. They help prepare issues for me. They help me develop legislation, get ready for floor fights, committee fights, whatever it may be. And for that, I'm extremely thankful. But they also represent the people of Delaware as well as they can. They take the phone calls, the letters, and the emails, and they get out the messages to make sure that people either get their Social Security or given help or whatever it is that we can possibly do to help. And I'd just like to thank my staff, who've just been extraordinarily. And obviously, most importantly, I thank Jane for her support. If you have a spouse who's talking about going into politics, approach it very cautiously. It is a tough job. We're away a lot. Our schedules are not always our own. And Jane has been as supportive as anybody could be. And I'd just like to thank her. She's been the best.